Peace, Come family. Come on in. Come on in to the live. So, while you all are coming in, please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video with someone who you think this topic will be helpful to. Today, we're going to continue with this series about scapegoating, which I have done 2 previous videos on. And today I'm going to be talking about what happens when the scapegoat leaves the toxic family. Okay. I have, during my time of watching and looking into videos about this, I have seen people talking about what happens when the scapegoat leaves the family, but a lot of people don't know from experience whether that is actually true or not. It's kind of just an assumption that they assume that the family falls apart, because who the scapegoat is in the family is the family member who is the healthiest in a toxic family. Okay. And a toxic family can look like any number of things, whether it's a family where drug addiction is prevalent, or alcoholism is there, hoarding, or just any number of toxic traits, narcissistic behavior, things like that. And the scapegoat is the person in the family who can see these toxic patterns and makes a conscious decision in the way that they behave in their life and in the way that they treat other people, that they don't want to continue those particular behaviors. And because of that, they stand out a lot more in the family and end up being targeted. Okay. They end up being targeted. It, to the toxic members of the family, makes them look bad. Okay. So when everyone else is engaged in a particular behavior and you decide that you don't want to do that, they feel like, well, what, you think you better than me? Or you're trying to make me look bad, or just the contrast in behavior is a mirror reflection to them of what it is that they're doing. And they don't like that. So what they do is they choose to abuse, mistreat, lie on, project upon, slander, and abuse in any number of ways this particular family member, who some people refer to as a scapegoat. Some people may say this is the black sheep. But I like to think of this person as actually the chosen family member, the chosen one. And when I say the chosen one, I mean the one who is chosen by the ancestors in that bloodline to begin to clean up the bloodline, to begin to take the family in a different direction. And it is a very hard task to undergo. Right? So when you have this family, there's somewhat of a gift to the family, because they tend to be very loving, very caring. They're the most empathic in the family. And this has the potential to teach other members of the family how to get closer to wellness, if those members were willing. But in a toxic family dynamic, they're not willing to go in that direction. They want to go in the opposite direction. And in fact, they want to sabotage the scapegoat so that they don't shine a light on those toxic behaviors. Okay. So I'm going to tell you from experience that the family actually does fall apart when the scapegoat leaves. So, of course, I'm going to have to use my own personal experience to explain to you how I know that this happens. So, When I was about 22 or so, I was still living with my mom and my sister in the Bronx, New York, where we grew up. And I was experiencing these same scapegoating, abusive behaviors, isolation, lying on me, smear campaigns, mistreating me, violating my boundaries, and blaming it on me. Okay. And at that point, I got really fed up. I got really fed up because I realized the behavior was not going to change. And I saved my money from working as a nurse and I left. And when I left at that time, I was very angry. I was very angry and tired, and I wanted nothing to do with my mother and my sister. And I said I would never forgive them at that time. Eventually, over time, that softened. My heart softened. But when I left at that time, there are three things that I noticed that happened over the course of time where I was away from them. Okay. So I did spend some time where I didn't talk to them at all. And maybe after a few weeks or months, I can't even really remember, I did begin communicating with my sister again. And my sister served the role of the golden child, okay, or the narcissistic sibling. And she was the one who reached out to me first, okay, while I wasn't really communicating with my mother at the time. So my sister was the one who reached out to me first, and I started to forgive and build a relationship with her. But so let me go into the three things that happened that I noticed, the three main things. One of the things that will happen when the scapegoat leaves is that the family will choose another scapegoat. And the reason that they'll choose another scapegoat is because they have been so unable to deal with their own emotions that they have put it off on someone else, which is what they use the scapegoat for, as an emotional trash can. Okay. So all of the things that they never wanted to deal with, they put it off on this person. And because they're still unwilling to deal with those things and they're still going to come up, they have to find some place to put those emotions. Greetings. They have to find some place to put those emotions. And so they'll choose another person. And what I noticed during that time, there were a few different people who started to get that mistreatment. Now, my mother started to have more issues with my sister during that time. And there was a cousin of mine who was staying with my mom. No, I don't think my mom was there at that time. She stayed with no, my mom was there. She stayed with my mom and my sister had moved in her boyfriend into the home at that time. And my mom came up with this situation which she told the whole family about, that my cousin who was staying with them had stolen several $100s from her private stash. Now, we know my cousin well, and we know that she has certain different things with her personality, but we've never known her to be a thief. She's not a thief, okay? So it was surprising, but everyone was listening to the story and actually believing it, because she never addressed it with anyone. And my sister went along with this as well. She went along with the story as if she's the one who took that money. So for a good while, I wasn't talking to my cousin because I'm like, how could you take this money from my mom? Meanwhile, everyone else in the family felt so bad. They were giving her money. I gave my mom money as well because I felt so bad that this money was taken from her. And maybe after some time, like a few months or whatever, my sister started talking to her again. I'm like, how could you do that? She stole this money from my mom, and why would you be talking to her and building a relationship with her again after she did that? And my sister made the statement to me, and she said, I don't think that she took that money. I could have taken that money. Yeah. And I knew then that it was my sister who actually took that money from my mom, and she intentionally allowed my cousin to be blamed for it. And once the heat died down, now she went and made back friends with the girl again. So that's one of the things that will happen when the scapegoat leaves. They will choose another member of the family to be the scapegoat. And I'll say this, I have known my sister to steal money from my mom or take money from my mom on several occasions. So I was very clear that she was the one who took the money and let my cousin take the blame for it. Okay. All right. The other thing that happens, when the scapegoat leaves is, yes, the family does fall apart. The family does fall apart. So that was one of the incidences that happened, but there were many others. I noticed that they began to have a lot of financial problems, a lot of financial difficulties after I left. So my mom started to have issues with being able to afford living, with being able to keep a job. And she even ended up having to move out of New York City and go up to Albany in order to look for job opportunities. And that didn't work out for her either when she was there. She stayed there and she really was struggling for a little while. I actually had to send for her to bring her back because, you know, we were worried about her. I was worried about her. My sister as well did start to have a whole lot of financial difficulties, unable to really maintain the apartment. She also ended up moving out of that space after my mom came back from Albany. She got her own place and wasn't able to even afford the rent or keep up the rent for a month there. She ended up being evicted from that place. And so I noticed that they had so many problems after I left, so many difficulties after I left with keeping jobs, with finances, with housing. And that takes me into the third thing that happens, which is that the scapegoat is the one who thrives after they leave the toxic family. So while they were going down, I was climbing up. I had a job as a nurse. I was making very good money. I had my own space. I had I think I had two cars during that time. I was doing well. I had good savings. I had great credit. I was thriving. I was thriving. And one of the things that happened during the time that I was thriving is I noticed that it really did evoke envy in other members of the family. Like they started to talk about me more. Aunts who didn't really have anything negative to say about me before, they started to have negative things to say about me, calling me cheap and things like that. And I think that was because they felt that the abundance that I was having, they should have had some of it too, which it doesn't work like that. You know, if I worked hard for a particular anointing over my life and you didn't do that work, you don't get to just have the same thing that I have. You didn't do that work. You understand? But you have members of the family who are watching you grow and they're seeing their lives remain stagnant, and some of them are even declining. They're now looking at you like, who you think you are to be doing better than me? You know, They think that because you are a part of their family, they're supposed to have what you have, even if they never worked the way that you work, even if they didn't do the work that you've been doing, the inner work that you did to achieve those things. They feel like they should have everything that you have, right? So yes, this video is really just to confirm to those of you who want to know, not that you want your family to be destroyed, but yes, the family does fall apart when the scapegoat leaves. And it's inevitable because they don't understand that you're actually there for healing. You're actually there for anointing. You're there to bring things into a different direction where there's pain, where there's hurt, and you want to heal it. And when they mistreat that person who has nothing but pure intentions for the family, it's inevitable that the family will decline, that there will be a lot of suffering once you leave. And it's also inevitable that you will thrive once you leave. If you do the work, if you do the work on yourself, which I'm going to get into in the next video that I do in this series. Okay, I'm going to talk about how you can actually thrive, because I'll say this, during that time while I was thriving financially, I had some hurdles emotionally because of things that had not been made clear to me at that time. Even though you're in the situation and you're experiencing it, you're somewhat blind to what the real cause of it is and what is really going on. I had not really delved into research about narcissistic abuse or domestic abuse or any of those things, other than for romantic relationships. I said this in the last video, that when you have been in a family that has mistreated you from childhood all the way up until adulthood, it changes your aura, it changes your energy. And a lot of the times you will attract other people who will mistreat you. And so I started to see those same things in other relationships that I have, friendships and even romantic relationships. And when I was looking into verbal abuse and all of these other things, I was applying it to those relationships, but I never got to the core and the root. And I think I was really in denial about it. I was really, really in denial about what they had done to me and how deeply it had affected me. And some of the things that brought it to the surface were nightmares. Had really bad nightmares, and that was what started to make me aware of where this anxiety, this fear, and this depression and this void that I had was coming from. And I was having nightmares about my mom and my sister and the things that they had done and the way they made me feel. And the other thing that really brought it to the surface was the relationships that I had built and what I was experiencing in those relationships. Our relationships are teachers to us of the areas in our lives that we need to heal. They teach us of either the areas that we're healthy in, they reflect those things to us, and they also reflect to us the love that we didn't get from our parents or from our family. We experience that because we carry that same vibration with us into those relationships. And so when I ended up going through one particular relationship that was horrible, really horrible, I haven't talked about it on this channel, and I don't know if I will, but if you all want me to, leave a comment about it in the comment section. Hatep Marian, Hatep Spiritual Awakening 444. Thank you all for joining. So yeah, that is it for this video today. I just wanted to give you all confirmation that this is what is going to happen when you leave your family. Okay? I hope this video was helpful to you all. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and like the video. Okay, this really helps me to be able to make more videos, and it helps the YouTube algorithm so that other people can find this content as well. Comment in the section, let in the comment section, and let me know what you felt about this video, if it resonated with you, and if this experience reflects anything that you've experienced as a scapegoat in your family as well. Also, share the video with someone who you know may be going through the same situation and may need a little bit of encouragement or advice about how to get through it. I will see you all in the next video. I love you all. Thank you all for showing up. Peace.